Russillo joins us from L.A. We should just do like mailbags. I teased that. You want to do a mailbag instead of talking about these games? I mean, look, these games were lousy, but in the end, we're left with the 4 teams in the East that we thought we'd have when the season started. Am I right?
Yeah, it really is played out that way, and I think it's even more interesting at the end of the regular season because it's wide open, and it's wide open for a bunch of different reasons, but I think the most important one is that all 4 teams are different in a way. Milwaukee has the same top 3 players, but it's an entirely new system and a better system with their head coach. Toronto's got a new coach and a new number 1 option in Kawhi and the improvement of Siakam. Philly's added 2 pieces to a group that, is still young, so they haven't done much. And Boston, who I'm still a little reluctant to overrate off a Pacers series where they were so dominant. Let's face it, just the Pacers don't have enough weapons to go up against them.
Right.
But they didn't have Kyrie last year. And here's Gordon Hayward back. And things are starting to look better, especially with Hayward. But it's a bunch of unknowns of 4 really good teams at the top of the East that we haven't seen in this conference in a long time.
I want to get to Milwaukee and Boston in a minute because they're running back last year, but it's clearly, as you indicate, totally different setups. The way to frame the discussion as it relates to Philly and Toronto is interesting to me because this isn't a who has the most to gain as much as what I want to know is who's going to look the most the same after this year. And I guess what I'm saying is it feels like both these teams really went all in for this year. Are either of these teams going to look remotely similar beyond this season?
There's more people out there that don't think Kawhi's coming back, and I don't know what ending would lead to him coming back. It's out there, and I don't know if it's just all of us repeating the same stuff that we're all hearing. So this might be their one shot at it, and honestly, I don't really blame them for taking a one-year shot at it with Kawhi, knowing that the group they've had before had these epic playoff flameouts in 4 of the last 5 years.
Exactly.
Philadelphia's more interesting because you still feel like it's around Embiid and Simmons, even though as much as we love their talent, and look, there's nights where I think Embiid looks like the best player in the league. There's other nights where it feels like Simmons and he are the worst fit for each other of any point guard center combination. I don't know if they're going to keep Harris and Butler. That's a lot of money. But sometimes teams will keep guys they don't even fall in love with because they don't want to lose the asset. GMs will tell you that all the time. Like, yeah, look, I know it's a lot of money and he's not worth it, but I'd rather just pay the guy and keep the asset. So the Philly thing is funny, Scott, because I spent all this time going, I want to see it click. I want to see all these pieces fit together. You know what I've decided? Is there's going to be one night who gives them nothing offensively because there's just not enough turns for him. And sometimes it's Simmons, sometimes it's Butler with his ISO stuff, and sometimes it's Harris. And it doesn't mean anything because at times they are so good that they may have enough firepower. But I still feel like, at least with Toronto, I know how all the pieces work. They've been steadier. And if they played their main guys, all 82, they'd be the number 1 seed in the East.
I want to save time for us for Westbrook down the road here in this show coming up in a minute. But I do want to ask you about Milwaukee. Nobody's blown out more people this year than they have. Boston does look better, but I'm with you. It was against an undermanned Indiana team, at least undermanned because they don't have Oladipo. Do you buy the Bucks as the favorite that Vegas has them at? I mean, they're a significant favorite to win and maybe win easily. Do you see that for Milwaukee?
I'm reserving everything about how I feel about Boston until I actually see a couple of these games. Okay? I know you'd love me to come on and be an awesome TV guest and be like, they're going to sweep the Celtics or the Celtics pulling the upset. Like, I'm not 100% sure yet because the Celtics thing kind of came together here and the minutes have worked out better after that Smart injury. But Milwaukee has been, end to end, really the most consistent team in the NBA this year. Defensively, they're number 1. Offensively, they have this system where it doesn't even matter that Giannis can't shoot because they spread you out so much that you can't really shut him off with multiple guys. And if you try to do that, the shooters around him are going to burn you. They can go big, they can go small. And as much as I've been in love with Embiid, Giannis went at Embiid and Simmons in some of those Sixers matchups with the least amount of fear of any player I've seen in the league this year. So despite the Celtics looking better and Brad Stevens doing a really good job, I think, of slowing Giannis down, this is an entirely different team that statistically is off the charts in comparison to who the Bucks were last year.